This is Deducter bringing you a commentary playthrough of the game Sword the Stars The Pit Gold Edition. This is a roguelike game set in a science fiction universe in which you control one of your characters who has to fight his way through 40 levels of increasingly dangerous monsters and traps. I very much like this game because it combines a randomly generated dungeon with extensive crafting, plus it is extremely difficult. It is probably the hardest single player game that I've played. And for this playthrough, what I like to do is sort of explain how you play this game to newcomers and perhaps even teach veteran players a trick or two. I've spent many hours playing this game. I've unlocked all the recipes and I've beaten this game quite a few times on both normal and hard difficulty, although there are actually difficulty levels beyond that. So if you're a new player, I recommend you actually start out on easy. Even easy is pretty hard. Normal is already incredibly challenging. I think I died about 20 times before I finally beat the game on normal. Then hard difficulty is, well, it is hard. I, as a default, usually play on hard difficulty these days, but for the purposes of this playthrough, I will be using normal. Whoops. I want to start, of course, on the entrance. There is a high degree of randomization in this game, much like any true roguelike, but if you're clever and use all your cunning and take advantage of the environment and your character's unique talents, you can get pretty far, even if luck doesn't run your way. So, for this playthrough, I will be using the Scout. I feel pretty confident about this game on normal difficulty. So, I think there's a reasonable chance I can get pretty far, perhaps even beat the game. The Scout is sort of a jack-of-all-trades type character at the beginning, but with sufficient experience, if your Scout survives past about floor 20 or so, she can become really good at almost everything in the game. So, something to keep in mind here. I think the Scout is one of the better starting classes. The Scion or the Ranger are also excellent choices. The Ranger is probably my favorite class. I know a lot of players, other players like to use Scion or the Seeker, which is basically a super Scion. But yeah, I will be using the Scout. Alright, so let us begin. You control your character with WASD key. This is a turn-based game. So if you pause, no game time elapses. And I'm just going to take a look around on this entry on floor 0, if you would. This is the outside. Sometimes you can find a fruit tree or two, and this is the fruit tree. You can interact with it and hopefully forage it for some fruit. And I got lucky and I got 3 ice gems, so that's quite a bit of extra food. Always good to have. Now, before I hit down into the pit, what I want to do is show you a little trick. The Scout starts out with 35 base skill in knife and 49 modified skill. So the gray number is the base skill and the blue number is the modified skill. When you hover over the skill, you can see exactly how it's modified. In this case, knife gets plus 14 bonus from my finesse. Anyway, if you pick your knife, select your knife, and then you click on an empty space and then force attack it. You can do that by holding down control and then just pressing F, like so. Your character can force attack any square that is legal for the weapon to attack. Since it's a melee weapon, I can only attack, next to me. I can't force attack out of range. But you can see how when I do this, my knife is upgraded. This is because, this is just how the game works. With melee weapons, you can use this technique to level up your skills. All skills can naturally level up to 45. Past that, you need to spend skill points to do so. So 45 is the upper limit for doing this particular trick on. And by doing this, you can quickly go from 35 to 45 skill, especially since I found some extra food. The reason why you don't necessarily want to be doing this for too long if you don't get lucky and your skill doesn't level up very fast is because this bar in the middle, this blue bar, is your food bar. It's a soft timer. If you run out of food, you will start to, if your food bar goes to 0, you'll start to incur various penalties, and if it gets slow enough, your character will automatically die. And so insta-death is never good in a roguelike. The number one rule in all roguelikes is survival. When in doubt, survive. Because as long as you survive, there's always hope. If you die, that's it. Now I've entered into the pit. The first level looks like this sort of cave. I am punching all these rats to death, and you can do that. You can either right-click on a spot and add punch ability, or you can just, like, if you select knife and then select it again, it switches to punch. I'm doing this, and I don't have my armor equipped because many of the equipable items in this game have durability, and if your durability of an item goes to 0, the item is destroyed. Using an item like knife, if you attack air, the durability never goes down, but if you attack anything else, the durability has a chance of going down. The higher your knife skill, the lower that chance, but it's nevertheless quite noticeable early on. I mean, it's noticeable at all points in the game, but it's quite noticeable, and I'll show you as I actually use the knives in combat. But there's no reason to use that, because these enemies at the first level on normal mode are so weak that they're trivial to just punch to death. And if you can punch things to death without using your weapons, then you should do so, because the more efficient you are with your supplies, the higher your chance of success, and the deeper you will go into this pit. A lot of this game is about resource management. I want to sneak up on this rabbit, and then what I want to do is stab it. Oh, but I couldn't kill it. That's a shame. That's alright. I'm going to explore the southwest area first. So I have a level up, but I'm not going to use it yet, because every time you level up, your character also fully heals. And I can spend a bit of time to fight a few more enemies and save my level up as a heal. You don't want to wait to do that for too long. And ooh, that thing is highly inaccurate at long range. Something to keep in mind. Yeah, see, your knife can become damaged from combat. Alright, this is a good time to level up. So you can see it fully heals you. And whenever you level up, you gain stat points and skill points. For the scout, it's a good idea to increase might early on. She has excellent stats, especially in finesse, but brains and power are pretty good too. But might is very useful for a number of reasons. One is that it modifies some melee skills, like both melee, which is punching. Melee is also, there are various weapons later on in the game if you find that checks melee to determine effectiveness. Melee also has another advantage, which I'm putting a point into it now, because if you level up melee, your grenades become more accurate, and grenades can save your life. The scout starts out with 2 frag grenades, so if used correctly, those grenades at the critical moment can be very important. Ooh, I better equip my armor for this. Alright, next I'm going to level up Psionics skills. Psionics only ever cost 1 skill point to level. I'm going to level at least these: empathy, telekinesis, and resistance. I have 1 spare point. I'm going to put it into redaction. Empathy, telekinesis, and resistance are all very good for the scout. She starts out with 10 points in all psionics, meaning she can't use any, but with empathy, telekinesis, and resistance, it doesn't take many skill points before she can use some psionic powers from those trees. Like here, Saishio is skill level 15, Life Sense is skill level 15, Manipulation is skill level 25. Some of the other trees are also very good, like War Mind. The first one, Berserker, can be very powerful if used correctly. It's skill level 30, which is reasonable, although the next one, Paralyze, is skill level 60. Same thing with Manifestation. The first one is skill level 50, that's kind of high. Mecha Empathy is also another excellent choice. Skill level is reasonable, but they cost a lot of psi to use. Scout doesn't have a huge psi pool. Nevertheless, this is also a good choice. And of course, Reaction is, I think, a pretty good choice for the Scout too, since Heal is always a nice ability and it's available fairly quickly. Against this turret, I am definitely going to equip my armor. And then I'm going to shoot it, like so. Alright. Let's see. Just going to keep foraging here. Managed to find myself some extra ammunition. Excellent. And then I am going to continue exploring this level. Oh, right. I should finish distributing my skill points. What else is good early on? Melee. I leveled that up. So the Scout is unique among all the character classes because she gets 8 skill points per level, as opposed to, well, it varies for the classes. It can be anywhere from, I believe, 3 to 8. 8 being the Scout is the highest. I think the next highest is Engineer of 6. Anyway, because she gets so many skill points, it can be worthwhile to put invest early on in some of the 2-point abilities. I like to invest in Electronics. The reason why some abilities cost 1 point and some cost 2 is because if you successfully use the ability before leveling up, like say Knife, I used the Knife very successfully and also Foraging, I foraged successfully. Those will only ever cost 1 point to level up. But if you haven't used the seal successfully, then it costs 2 points. In general, you want to only spend 1 point on leveling up a skill. There are some exceptions to that. I think generally you want to do that with one of your characters who have many skill points. Again, the Scout is an excellent candidate for this, and you probably still don't want to do it too much. Electronics is good because there are many broken equipment later on that you can find, and that got some ammunition from that, and breaching charges. These are pretty useless, at least for the Scout. On normal difficulty, can't kill that rabbit. That's okay. I'm not going to chase it down. It runs too fast. Right. Ooh, I have my armor equipped? I don't really need my armor equipped for this guy. It's pretty weak. Alright. Hopefully, foraging will get up to 45, and then before I level, then I can put a point in that. Oh dear. This enemy, the Ghostmaker, is super dangerous. Right, poison level 5. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Because, well, you can see right there, it has a chance of poisoning you, applying a very high level poison to you. And this poison, it checks strength. Fortunately, I have a level up. Even so, what I'm going to do to combat this poison is go up a level. So there's poison always gets better. Let's see. I better level up now. Right. But you can see this is what poison does. High level poison can dim you, making you see less. It can decrease your stats. It checks might. So the higher your might, the better chance poison has of becoming lower every round. But yeah, this is actually pretty nasty. Point to melee here. Pointing to pistol, since it's my primary weapon. And pointing to mechanical, since that checks a lot of chests early on are mechanical, and they can drop some really good items. And then I'm just going to keep pressing X to wait for the poison to become cured. Oh! And then I run into this bat. Too bad my sight range is so bad. These bats can give you disease, which is why I like to kill them with a gun at range. Fortunately, it's not a huge problem. I can just use one of my med kits. If you use it successfully, you can cure one level of disease. So it's not too bad, but you should definitely, with a low strength character like the Scout, cure your disease as soon as possible, because disease, unlike poison, has a chance to get worse. Okay, it's only level 2 poison now. I feel good enough about continuing. Yeah, disease has a chance of getting worse, and if disease gets to level 10, you die instantly. But, and it is quite possible for disease to go all the way from level 1 to level 10 with a low strength character like the Scout. Curing disease, curing poison, those check might. And yeah, a character like the Marine who starts out with 70 might is not going to be bothered by, level 1 disease. Although level 5 poison was still going to bother him, it'll go away much, much quicker. So, something to keep in mind. What is that? A snow rabbit. Alright, killing it gives me a raw meat. Now I am going to shoot this in the optimal range of my weapon. The auto pistol, if you mouse over it, you can see its stats. It says range 2. That doesn't mean its maximum range is 2. What it means is its optimal range is 2. The weapon is most accurate at that range. So these chests can contain good ammunition, but I only have a 66% chance to open it. The red ones have a chance of exploding. If it explodes, it can damage your inventory. One way to get around that, I can use my lockpick sets on it, which, is reasonable. The Scout is unique among all characters because she starts with 2 of them. But lockpicks are also very good for getting into other, the most critical containers, which are the weapons containers. This is merely an ammo container. So I'm not going to use my lockpick on that, and I nevertheless succeed and unlock it. I get some flèche rounds. Those are, I don't have any weapons that use them, but these are probably the best, ballistic ammunition. Since there are a lot of the high-end ballistic weapons use these rounds. I also find a biomod. That is unidentified item that you can put in your weapons to potentially give them a boost. But there are also biomods that give debuffs, so you want to identify the items before using them, unless you have absolutely no choice and your inventory is about to run out or something like that. But yeah. These rats don't come out of the room, so I can retreat and fight these enemies one at a time. Just a little something to note. You can interact with desks. Usually they'll contain messages. I'm pressing the X here to wait a turn before I run up and interact with this ammo crate, because I'm so used to playing on higher difficulties that adaptoids can spawn on level 2. Adaptoids are these mimics, basically, like mimics in other RPGs. More breaching charges? Don't need those. But I do get some pistol rounds. That the adaptoids can take the shape of various objects. Ammo chest is one of them. And the way you can test for adaptoids is by walking up to them with a spare move, trying to interact with the object. If you cannot interact with the object, then it's an adaptoid. If you end your turn next to an adaptoid, it can get free hits off on you, which is not a good thing. They hurt a lot in melee. Alright. I'm pretty close to leveling. So I'm going to take the risk and keep exploring as opposed to resting. Let's see, how much health do I have? 34? Yeah. These have a chance of damaging you if you don't repair them successfully. You want to make sure you have a decent amount of health before trying to repair them. That's interesting. I found a motion sensor. This is an item that allows you to... Ooh, I know what that sound is. That's another one of those spiders. These spiders are also hard to hit. Different monsters have like different dodge chance. Spiders are among the more the enemies that are harder to hit. Alright, I should level up with that. I'll show off the motion sensor once I go to a new floor. It basically allows you to see where potential enemies are. Alright. Alright. Close the door. Reload. Acid spray trap. Those are nasty. If you trigger one, it does 5 damage to every item in your inventory. So that can be really nasty. Yeah, so before I go down, I'm going to equip my armor, and then I am going to level up to heal myself. One more pointing might. Resistance. Reaction. If you don't spend all your skill points, some of them get saved up. I must have forgotten to spend some last level, but that's alright. I'm not going to be too bothered by that. Melee. It's good to level up a bit more. Pistol is definitely good. I'm going to put one more point into mechanical. Excellent. That's probably all I'm going to need. And then I am going to put a point into... I'm going to put 2 more points into electronics again. Alright. On to the next level. I've gained some psionic abilities. So, Psi Shield. If you hold down Alt, you can gain a second series of hotbars for both your inventory and your psionic abilities. I like to put Psi Shield on my Alt bar. And I'm going to put this ability, Life Sense, on my main bar. Life Sense is a pretty useful buff because it allows you to see into the fog, like so. And you can see if a biological enemy is there. You don't know what sort of enemy it is. All you know is that it is a living creature. It doesn't tell you what robot. If there's a robot there, although it will tell you if a cyborg is there. There are enemies that are both robotic and biological at the same time. The cyborgs. Those are some of the nastier enemies in the game. That's a security robot. Those can be very dangerous. Not the security bot Mark 1. Those are alright. But later on in the game, robots can become really nasty. Alright. I want to shoot those things at the optimal range of my weapon. Now is a good time to show off the motion sensor. What it does is, wherever there is a red dot, that's an enemy. So it can tell you whether there are any enemies nearby. It's got a pretty large radius. It's very useful because it can alert you to whether there are any enemies around the corner or not. Don't really need my flak jacket for these guys.
That's right.
One of them already poisoned me. Might as well just punch the other guys to death. Alright.
I'm ready.
Whenever you use a psionic ability, I found another lockpick set. That's really good. That's really, really good. Lockpick sets are perhaps the most valuable consumable item early on. What is that? Snow rabbit again? Excellent. Pretty good. Run is going swimmingly. These maintenance spots have a good chance of damaging low armor, or I should say, light armor. Or armor with low defense. Oh, it's called armoring in this game. It's kind of confusing. Alright. So you generally don't need your flak jacket equipped to fight them. That thing's a door trap. They can have all sorts of different effects. I'm not going to step through these just yet. I'm going to test them once I clear out most of a level. Because some effects can be really nasty. Wow, that is a lot of ammunition chests in there. What is that? Teleport trap? That's okay. Let's see, these leeches, they can drain Psi. It's not so bad since I can close the door here to make sure I don't fight too many at once. It's not so bad for a character like the Scout who doesn't rely on Psionics early on. They're nice, but it's not that important. They can be very bad for the Scion or the Seeker who do rely on Psionics early on. So you might want to take them out with extreme prejudice if you're playing one of those character classes. Yay, more pistol ammunition. Darts. And also some pistol ammunition. And even more pistol ammunition. Excellent. I'm getting lots of ammunition for my primary weapon. Always a good thing. Getting a little hungry. Poison. So I'm gonna eat something. I'm gonna eat one of these ice gems. Oh, before that, I'm gonna eat this. The ice gems, if you read the description, it says, delicious crystalline fruit whose cool nutrients slow hunger for a time. If you eat one, after a little while, for a little while, your character doesn't suffer from additional hunger. Or I should say that the food bar does not go down for a while. Effectively, the food gives more than 35 food. Ice gems provide more than 35 food per use, as long as you don't eat them all at once. I'm pretty sure the effect doesn't stack. So the way you want to eat these is you want to eat one at a time. So whenever you're hungry, you just eat one, and repeat until you're out of ice gems. Just one more way of, one little trick of extending your, let's see, this could be a teleport trap, but I'm willing to take the risk. Drop my items, step through. Damn, it was a teleport trap. Okay. That's okay. Generally, because there is a chance that these can be teleport traps, it's an extraordinarily bad idea to do this on a higher difficulty unless you've cleared out an entire level. This is normal difficulty, plus I play this game so much that I could probably get myself out of a jam like this, but yeah, it's really dangerous. Let's see. These traps will recharge after a while, but as long as there's no robot, I'll be fine. Punch this to death. Come on. I can also always just run back the old-fashioned way, but this is probably faster. Plus, this brings me into the room, so I can attempt to repair this recharge station. Yeah, what I did was really reckless and honestly a bad idea even on normal difficulty. You really should clear out the entire level. The reason why I did drop all my items before stepping through this trap, though, is because one of these traps is the item destruction trap, which can destroy a random item in your inventory. So the way to test for that is to drop everything, and you can pick up an item you don't need. Like, say, for instance, I can pick up these rifle rounds and split them so I only have one rifle, but there's an item that I value even less than one rifle round, which is a breaching charge. I just step through the trap, If the item is destroyed, it'll tell me. If it's a different type of trap, it'll also tell me. That's how you can test the traps. One of the traps recharges your chargeable items, so and there's another trap that completely heals and cures you of all status effects. So there are some really good beneficial traps that you want to try to find. Equip my knife and my armor. My auto pistol is reloaded, and I am going to get ready to go on to the next floor in the next video. Thank you for watching.